Hello everyone and welcome to another card video. Today I am playing with some stuff that I purchased from Hello Bluebird. I have the Skating Party stamp set, and this features like a bunny and a penguin and a bear either skating or sitting, drinking a cup of hot cocoa or coffee. While I was there, I saw this Warm Wishes die. I love this. I've seen this on several cards and I just had to have it. And also, I know that it's late, but for next year, boo to you. Do you do that? Do you buy things a year in advance? I do. I really like this die, so this is going in my permanent collection. In this video, I'm going to use Hello Bluebird's Skating Party stamp set and Warm Wishes die to create a fun card. I haven't made it yet, but it's in my mind. Just so that I'm perfectly transparent, this video is primarily made for adults, and I purchased these items with my own money. I am using the little bunny rabbit that's drinking a coffee, and I'm stamping him with my mini Misty onto some Neenah 110-pound cardstock using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. I originally thought that I wanted to mask them and stamp them all together, but there was a scarf issue. The bunny has a scarf, and no matter how you arrange them, somebody was getting whipped in the face with a scarf. So I decided to stamp them individually and cut them out and arrange them after the fact. I'm going to do some coloring with some Copic markers, and I'm trying something new. Here's the Copic color map if you just want to see what colors I used. I'm using real-time footage. Don't look at my manicure. You don't need to look at that. I cannot paint my fingernails, so please do not judge me. I rarely do it. I try to go to the salon, but that gets expensive, you know, so I did it myself, and it's terrible. Anyway, so the footage here is real time. I did not speed it up. I thought maybe if I showed you a smaller amount of real time footage, it would be more helpful than a bunch of sped up stuff. So let me know in the comments below how you feel about that. But I like real time to see exactly the care in which that someone's taking to color an image. So I think sometimes you lose a little bit when you speed it up, but you know, it can be mundane and boring too. So let me know what you think. So I'm using B95, B93, and B91 to color this little dude's hat and his scarf. Okay, so I've stamped it in the black ink, and I first go and do the darkest of dark in the shading with the B95, B95, and then I go over that with the B93, and then I go over that with the B91 with leaving a little bit uncolored. Okay, so like stark white still. This preserves the highlight. Okay, so you should know, if you've colored with alcohol markers, if you color something once, it's one shade. If you color over it again, it darkens, right? So you can get some type of color variation or depth with one marker. Okay, so I'm using 3. And I'm starting with the darkest one, and then I'm blending it out with the second series. Okay, I also use a colored pencil when I'm completely done. I usually color the image twice to get a really good blend, sometimes 3 times, but you have to be careful because you can oversaturate your paper. That's why I like using 110-pound paper, because you can color on it. It really takes a beating with the markers and soaking up that ink, but you still have to be careful, especially with red ink. Red ink can get out of hand really quickly. Once I've completely colored the image or the item that I'm coloring, the scarf or the hat or whatever it might be, then I go in with my Gold Faber 273. It's a neutral gray, but it adds a great shade, like a shadow effect, over your Copic markers. The same color is in the polychromos. I have used it, but I like this colored pencil, and it's cheap. I should really never use the word cheap, It's not cheap. It's less expensive and it gets the job done, and I really like using it. So I have several of these. This one's getting rather short, but I know that I can get like a pencil extender too, so that's on my to-do list. I consider myself a shy colorer. I know shy and me should not be in the same sentence, but I'm scared to go out of my comfort zone a lot of times when it comes to coloring. And so this allows me to have that contrast that I want with my images. I have a lot of crafty New Year's resolutions. I should make a video of crafty New Year's resolutions because I bet you guys have some too. And one of them is to maybe do a little bit more out of the comfort zone coloring. So right now I'm using the C1, C3, C0, and the 0 marker to color just the white parts of his hat. And I decided that I was going to use like dots to color in the shading, and you can barely see that I use dots. So I'm working on it. I'm working on some different coloring techniques. Just give me some time. I did not show you the coloring of the entire bunny because of the real-time coloring thing. It would just take a really long time. So I'm just concentrating on the hat and the scarf in this video. So, but I did use the T series, the T4, T2, and T0. Huh. I had to look at my notes. Anyway, I'm using Versa Magic Aspen Mist for the background. I absolutely love this color. This is my favorite background color, like blue color to use for backgrounds. And I have frozen shoulder, so ink blending really is uncomfortable for me right now. So this is me desperately trying to find an ink blending tool that made this process less painful. It doesn't exist. I can tell you that right now. It doesn't stop me. I still do the ink blending. I just make myself uncomfortable. But I successfully ink blended this background after a short break. It looks fantastic. I love that color. So now I'm going to cut the Warm Wishes die from the same white cardstock. I attempted to look at a coordinating color of blue, but I did not have anything in my collection that coordinated well with the little Copic colored guys, and so I just needed to ink blend another panel. But I did it, and it turned out fantastic. I'm going to cut this from the ink blended panel and also 3 additional times from other Neenah panels that I have. I love using the Neenah 110 for this also because it makes a really sturdy die cut. I'm going to layer these all together using Nuvo liquid Deluxe adhesive. This Warm Wishes die is fantastic because even the little dot of the eye is connected to everything, so it's really not a pain in the butt. It's really kind of easy to put your dots and layer them together. I use the acrylic block to weight it down so that it all adheres together nice and flat and sturdy. I really enjoy the font of this die, and I've really been collecting a lot of large fonts, sentiments for like that take up the whole card front. It makes for a really easy card, and you could do so many techniques with them. Once I feel like all my layers are adhered or have had time to dry, I'm going to take my Nuvo Clear Mark Embossing ink, and I'm going to do this on an acrylic block so that it's easy to clean up. You could also use the glass mat, but I'm taking some Wow White Puff embossing powder, and I'm using it to kind of mimic snow on the top of my word die there. I want to make it kind of taper off at the bottom, so I want to brush off some of the embossing powder toward the bottom of the word worm. Yes, worm. Once your heat tool is nice and warm, you can bring it to the word die and heat up that embossing powder, and it puffs up like snow, and it's super fun, and I love it. Once the embossing powder has cooled off, you can touch it, and it adds texture to the sentiment as well, which is also really cool. I'm using MFT's Snowdrifts dies. These are snowdrifts that do not have stitched lines. Why does everything have to be stitched? Anyway, I'm using this to kind of create a little bit of a landscape in the background of my critters. I used 3 layers of these. That's totally unnecessary. You're kind of cover it up in the end, but more. I want more. I'm a crazy person, so I'm making a sub-sentiment with MFT black licorice cardstock, and the sentiment that reads, "Friends, warm the heart." I stamped this with that same sticky embossing ink and embossed it with Ranger white embossing powder. I use my hand to wipe away any excess powder from both the EK Success powder tool or the embossing powder. The oils from my hand help restore that black to the cardstock that you lose when you emboss. I'm using liquid adhesive to adhere my Warm Wishes word die to the background panel. I've added black craft foam to the back of this panel as well as some tear tape adhesive, and this will go on to the Simon Says Stamp Fog card base. I'm adhering those snowdrifts with the same liquid adhesive, just flat to each other. There's no dimension, it's just for the background effect of snow. And then I popped up my birch log and the bunny. Everything else is adhered flat. At this point, I wasn't sure where I was going to put the sub-sentiment. I had thought about putting it towards their bottom, like their toes, but it didn't really fit and it covered them up too much. I'm using a Doodlebug Tiny Hearts heart, which those white hearts have yellowed. That makes me sad. But I'm using Ranger clear foam adhesive to pop this up. This is just like adhesive foam that you can't see, and I love it. And I'm putting it right in the middle of my Warm Wishes. I really like how this card turned out. I think it looks great. I really enjoyed coloring such cute critters. I hope that you will leave me some comments down below and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, coming up next is footage from our trip to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party at Walt Disney World.
What do you have there?
Diabetes.
You have what?
Oh no! Take that one back.
You did what?
Get another one. Get another chocolate diabetes.
It's not, chocolate diabetes.
I know. I don't know. I don't know where he gets that. It's probably from my brother.
The diabetes?
Diabetes. Diabetes.
Can you see?
I don't want to get caught in the fish.
Nuvo.
Baby death. Baby death. Baby death. What? I'm not a baby.
I don't understand this dabbing.
Means we did something awesome. Kid dab. Actually doing something awesome.
I don't think that's true.
It means that.
There we go.
Why do I have to control us? Go up, 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 up. Go up.
around it here. He's what?
Practicing that Canada foolish delight.
Dexter, look at that.
For the next full party, please wait behind the yellow line.
Is this haunted room actually stretching? Or is it your imagination?